Here's the thing. I'm giving you a knife and I'm telling you go in the jungle and figure it out. But I never taught you how to use the knife. What we need to do is teach people how to use the knife. I'm not telling you hold their hands and go over there and teach them how to navigate the jungle. There will be obstacles. They're gonna go out there and face it. I'm not gonna teach you. I'm not gonna give you a fish, but I'm gonna teach you how to fish. It's the same concept. But if we are playing, I think right now we're not even teaching people how to fish. Everything is just superficial. It's like, what do I get out of it first?
There's so many more. Like that's why I'm trying to understand why you're saying teach them how to fish. I get it. If somebody here doesn't teach you how to fish, you can go somewhere else and go learn how to fish.
Look, hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor across from residentials that I own. My mind stayed grown, I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those. And then I switched it up, I'm only thinking potential.
What it do? How the people doing?
You see the location switched. You gotta make adjustments.
I'm not promoting no brands. Let me move all this stuff. Yo, you know what happened recently? Are we live?
Yeah, man.
You know what happened recently?
What?
Somebody asked me if I ever consider running for president.
Just let me know when you do so I can remove myself out of your life.
Why?
Because they come after everybody.
That's true.
Everyone that's in your circle, they're gonna look at, and I don't want those eyes on me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied exactly how I am.
That's fair. That is facts. We're gonna make this quick because I got places to be.
And we're starting late.
Well, we had a different agenda for today. We had a massive project. I was ready to go bunkers on this.
Man pulled out the journal for this one, so it was quite an exciting one.
I pulled up pages, man. I was ready for this.
It's like you read it. It's like you wrote an essay last night.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was up really working on this, and
wow.
it's and I finished. I was like, yeah, I did this.
What made you want to do that though? I've never seen you do that before. Were you just excited, or you just wanted to be prepared for this?
I think the topic that I was writing on had so much substance that I just kept diving deeper and deeper on it, which made it more interesting. Yeah.
You want to give us a glimpse on no? You want to wait till we drop the episode? You're gonna
I think people are gonna have to wait because this type of stuff it can change your life overnight. So we're gonna wait for the appropriate time.
Okay, that's fair. Well, hey, welcome back with another one, the Walk and Grow podcast.
What it do?
You know how we do.
I hope life is well. I know the weather's getting nice, so everybody should be on their best behavior now.
Yeah, don't go crazy. The streets been a lot of people, man.
It's been hot.
A lot of people.
It's been hot enough.
2 years ago, there was nothing like this, but now it's like you said, the block is hot.
Mm-hmm.
So
be careful, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today. I'm trying.
Good segue, huh?
I know. We started early. I was driving here on my way here, and I'm thinking, like, yo, you can already see how people are eager to be outside. So one of the questions we're going to talk about is like, what's your strategy for this summer? To me, it's like save coins. I'm not traveling just because I know everybody's going to be doing that. But we'll get into that. So I have 3 questions that we'll talk about today. Do you want to get started? We're good. Let's
do it. We got nothing. No time to waste. Let's get right into it.
The first question is, what is one valuable life lesson you learned over the weekend?
Over the weekend?
Yeah, specifically over the weekend. So it's kind of like, and this goes to everybody on the call. Just a reflection of your weekend. What is one positive life lesson that you learned over the week, that you gained over the weekend? What stood out to you over the weekend? I was like, God, this is a good, I can pass this on.
You're making me go back to think about what I did this past weekend.
Let's see if you were productive.
This week it was a real chill weekend for me. Didn't really have too much to do, which is sometimes a good thing. you can take a step back and just look things. But valuable lesson that I've learned this past weekend. You're going to have to go ahead and say yours because I'm going to have to think about
That's not how life works.
I mean, I can't, I'm not going to make a long pause right here. So you better speak now because I got to think about mine.
Well, but what are some of the things that you did? Like, were you outside at all? Like, is there anything? Did you read anything? Did you talk to anybody on the phone that was like, hey, there's got to be something that crossed your mind? But
I have to recall it.
All right, so I'm going to pass the question. We'll go to the next question, and then we'll come back when you're ready.
No, why don't you just say yours?
Nah, because we're going to have to go questions per questions.
That's quack. Okay.
He said that's quack. Oh, whack. Anyway, I'm going to go and say mine. What are some of the stuff that I discover over the weekend? Patience. I think
that's what you discover. You didn't say that question to me. What did I discover? You said, what did
life
you
lessons,
learn? Life lessons you learned.
Patience. What was one of the life lessons that crossed my mind because I looked at I'm growing plants this year, and one of the plants that I bought in winter did not survive the winter, but right now it's doing well. And the only difference between the season was the fact that I was watering it and it also started growing it in its own season. So kind of like that life lesson to me was, we all grow in our own season, but the persistence is how much you nurture yourself, whether it's your soul, your mind, emotionally, because that plant, I'm nurturing it with, sunlight and water, right? Mm-hmm. And the more I do that, the more I allow it to grow. So from a human perspective, how do we, allow ourselves to grow on a day-to-day? What is our water and sunlight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I was looking at it. Through patience and growing in the right season, you can do so much more for yourself and the people around you.
I think I got mine.
I got another one, but
mine for this past weekend, I would say the biggest life lesson that I learned is consistently become a problem solver to somebody else, because everyone's going through something, and if you know how to get someone through it, just help them through that, and just, I guess, avoid. I don't want to give too much information because obviously this is personal information of somebody else that I know, of them going through something, them reaching out and us navigating through it. But become a problem solver. Don't just, if somebody gives you a problem or something, don't just listen to it. Sometimes they kind of want your feedback, which is why they're sharing it. Typically, I tell anybody, I'm not going to share my problems to you because typically you're not going to look at it and try to solve it. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Ooh. No. If I'm bringing a problem to you, I'm looking for advice. I'm looking for some sort of feedback, so that we can go to some sort of solution to it. So I would say become a problem solver for somebody else and yourself, of course. But more or less, just if somebody's bringing a problem to you, try to find a way to solve it for them. Because if they're sharing the problems with you, I mean, that means they care about you. That means they care for your opinion and what you have to say about it.
Yeah. So the next step on that is really identify, okay, if you can at this particular moment fix your own problem, how can you still utilize your skills to help someone else to solve their problem? Because by helping them solve their problem, you're also helping yourself be in a better position to solve your own problems. That's kind of how I
somebody
see it.
else's problem can be a lot more complex than yours. Yeah. But it's because it's so much more complex. You may see something that they may not see that you can just share with them, and then boom, that you may give them some sort of light right there. Whereas your problem could be a lot more smaller, but it's way more specific where not everybody can help you with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's part of it as well. But the time as well plays a factor, because it could be, your problem doesn't, you can't fix it right now for so and so reason, right? For, let's say, the most common reason is financial reason, right? Let's say you can't fix your problem right now for financial reason, but you can help someone fix their problem to where you're then able to gain some sort of financial reward that you can use towards your own problem.
Yeah.
So you're basically accomplished, the same task, but you've also helped someone solve their problem in that process. So yeah, it's very important to be able to, help someone else, solve their problem if you're in a position to do so. My additional one was kind of just try to see your problems through someone else's eyes. By doing that, you're able to identify whether or not your problems are actually problems. With a lot of people complain about certain things that if you really look deep down inside, you should be thankful that you're put in that position rather than This question is more geared towards gratitude. In a sense, be grateful of what you have and appreciate everything that you have, even those misfortune, because in those misfortunes, sometimes it lays your blessings, and it's sometimes in those misfortune, there's that opportunity for you to 10x your life. One example that I think about a lot is fear. Exactly what we fear is what we need to tackle. I say that a lot. There's those things where you really need to go head on and face it, because that's where your success story is. But
I got another one. It's coming to me now. See,
yeah.
And the more and more I think about it, the more it comes. I was listening to. Remember, there's a guy that I told you I was gonna start studying. Right. Please don't forget his name right now. Robert Smith. Please, I think that's his name. But just before I butcher it, I'm gonna double check.
How you gonna study someone you don't even remember his name?
I'm
on,
pretty sure
bro.
that's his name. But I just want to make sure I'm saying it right, so for the people listening, they know exactly who it is.
Very questionable. I
Like,
don't know
come
if this
on,
is
man.
a credible source anymore, man.
I mean, it may not be credible to you, and I promise you, I don't care. It's credible to me, and I know exactly who I'm talking about, and that's really all that matters.
I'm gonna have to
But-
fact check this.
Go ahead, fact check it all you want. No, it's not. Yeah, there, Robert Smith. I was right. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. So I was actually listening to one of his interviews, and I was trying to figure out when did this interview even take place, because it was a 5-year-old video on YouTube. And obviously, if it's a 5-year-old video on YouTube, probably wasn't placed then. It was probably pre-recorded, and they just threw it on. But he said, become an expert. That was it. Like the entire interview. It was like obviously they had an interview based when he was talking about his life, his background, where he comes from, what made him even start his own company in private equity, and just kind of how to navigate through what's coming into the world. And that's why I was really trying to identify, like, when was this recorded? Because that would at least give me an idea. All right, well, if he was talking about this then where are we as a country now?
Become an expert of what?
Whatever you want to become, whatever you want to focus in on. He was specifically talking about, like, just STEM majors in technology, specifically, just becoming expert at that specifically.
Yeah, well, that's very misleading, because you can't tell somebody to just become an expert, because it has to be specialist towards something specific. So if you're going to become an expert, you want to become an expert at something specific. Most likely it's your passion. You don't want to become an expert at everything, because you cannot split your energy to be sufficiently, able to accomplish your task, by splitting yourself in multiple places multiple times. So if you're going to become an expert, I hope it's expert in some sort of specialized skills or specialized knowledge that is targeted towards one focus.
I mean, it depends on how the person takes it. I mean, how I took it is become an expert at what I enjoy doing. Yes, I can't speak for everybody. I see what you're saying. I get it. And I hope everyone listening understands that. But what he was saying was pretty much become an expert in technology. Understand whatever it is that you want to do in technology. Understand all the ins and outs there, all what's going on around it. Think outside the box. Figure out what's going inside the box, so that you can become that person, the go-to person whenever something is needed within that space, right? Become an expert, though. And he's talking about different ways of how to even become one. And literally, he was like, this is my favorite part of it. He says, those Saturday nights when all your friends are, going out to party, that's the moment where you go into the books. That's when you do your studying. Or maybe you actually just get around all your friends who are interested in the same space, have a conversation with them on Saturday. And then what you do on Sunday, you do the same thing again, right? But it's just really kind of giving you an idea of how to go about becoming an expert in something. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of studying. It's going to take a lot of conversations, but it's just a matter of putting that work in to actually get it done.
Yeah, putting the work, become an expert, I agree to a certain degree, and we'll probably save that for another episode.
What is there to disagree with?
In the sense you're saying become an expert.
Yes.
At what, though?
Whatever you decide. I'm not going to tell you what to become an expert in.
Okay.
Who am I to tell you become an expert in X, Y, and Z?
And what was the second part to that you said? Because it allows you to do what? Well, when you become an expert, it allows
you to be the go-to person.
Okay. Got you. Oh, okay. So what I wanted to say additional to that is if by you becoming an expert and also identifying, understanding, because basically what you're saying is understanding all the facets, the in and out of, of what you're becoming an expert at, identify what role you play in it, because then it then tells you what role you can delegate.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's a very important part. Identify what role you play in all of it, so you can know what portion of it you can delegate, and it also saves you the time to try to fix something that someone else should be working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Question 2.
Question number 2: what's your stand on humanity right now? On how do you feel about the way society is going? Do you have hope and high expectation of the human of our ecosystem, I should say?
Yeah.
Because I think people are kind of caught up in so many different directions. So it's kind of what's your stand on everything that's going on?
Yeah, I say it a lot. I say it a lot to my girl. I feel bad for the next generation. I really do. Like the generation that comes after us, and I don't see enough preparation.
Gen Z, to be specific here, because
aren't we considered Gen Z too then?
No.
I mean, I don't remember what years Gen Z is, but I guess okay. Yeah. So Gen Z, I truly do feel bad because it's a lot that everyone's just getting, and there's no preparation really. That's just my big thing. I don't see any preparation. In comparison to what was our parents went through, my older cousins may have went through. They were prepared in a sense where they had to put themselves in the book. They had to remember some things. They had to learn some things through their own. Nowadays, man, it's a click of a button and bang, you got the answer. So it's like, do you really retain and understand how that information is really portrayed and how you're giving it to it? That's part of it. And obviously the underserved communities. That's another one that I really, that's my humanity philosophy, and it's just focusing on the underserved communities, minorities specifically. And that's where my philosophy is really going towards it, and everything I'm doing is for that community.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Somewhat of a, if we want to dive deep on the first part of that, which is basically
people not being prepared, or generation Gen Z not being prepared.
Yeah, being prepared. I think it's you're saying like things like they don't retain stuff the way our parents did and stuff like that. It's like, is there a need at this point in time to retain some of the I think the demand in terms of the demand that were required back then is different than what's required now.
Very true.
Which means the approach is going to change. So what we think is should be according to the laws and regulation of what we grew up on, it's going to change just because the world is changing rapidly and evolving in so many different directions. There was no need for our parents to learn about AI back then. Now there is a need for that. So things like that. Right. Gen Z will adapt to the change that they need to make to fit their trend,
their society. Yeah.
And we don't know what that's going to look like yet. Maybe Elon does, but that's kind of where that's going. What we can do, our best part right now is, I think they have a bright future just because they're going to have a lot more cool stuff to play with than we did. Yeah. But what they will lack is the mental health to be able to push through with that. That's one thing I've identified a lot, is because the technology and everything is evolving so rapidly, it's so easy to be overwhelmed. And when you become overwhelmed, whether it's in your personal life, your work, the technology, the virtual friends and all that, it gets to a certain point where it becomes too much, and you finding that balance, is hard. It's already hard right now without, technology being, where it can be. So when that gets to that point, how our kids are going to keep that, that mental capacity and balance, to be able to still live in harmony with themselves and other people in their community, and be productive member of society.
I think that's a forever problem.
It's going to be a forever problem, but that's what I'm saying. We can help solve that by passing the knowledge that we have. That's the least we can do. And by passing that knowledge, then the next generation can then use that to make the necessary adjustment for their own development. But if we just sit here and say, hey, I feel sorry for the next generation, bro, I don't know if you're gonna make it. You
trying to imitate me now?
No, I'm just saying. But that's kind of like, I think they have a bright future. And I'm looking forward to seeing what I can see. but it's more about, do we as the elders, as the quote unquote wisers, are at the people with more experience, are we passing that knowledge on to kind of gear them and tailor, and help them navigate that life? That's kind of like where I'm going with it. And you were saying, you want to cover like the underprivileged community.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, especially for immigrants, as being an immigrant myself. That's one of my agenda, to kind of put my country back on the map, in terms of education, for example, because I know education is my strongest suit. So I want to be able to educate a lot of people from my country. I want to be able to educate a lot of people just in general, because I know by doing that, especially the younger kids, the younger generation, Gen Z, as we were talking, I know by doing that, there will be, yes, not everybody's going to retain that material, and not everybody's even going to apply it. But there will be a small fraction that will go out there and make a difference. And those are the people that I'm looking for. I always say the next Jeff Bezos, Elon, is somewhere in Africa right now. He doesn't know what to do because he's not getting the guidance he needs. So if us as the elders can, spend that time, educating others, we can easily identify the Elon, the Bezos, the Bill Gates, that are coming out from other countries, not other continents, not just the continent of Africa. But I strongly think that there are geniuses out there, smart guys that can make a difference and make this world a better place, but they need our guidance. The next generation is going to be good. They're going to be good. We just have to be there for them. So rather than watching from afar and say like, yo, go figure it out yourself.
That's what we all did. We all did that.
But times have changed, man. I think
you have more tools at your hand than we ever did.
Yeah, but we're living in a time where we need to be working together. And that's what I'm saying by telling somebody to go figure it out. That's not you working together. No, that could be you figuring it out. Could be teaching you a valuable lesson. Yeah, because here's the thing: I'm giving you a knife and I'm telling you go in the jungle and figure it out. But I never taught you how to use the knife. What we need to do is teach people how to use the knife. I'm not telling you hold their hands and go over there and teach them how to navigate the jungle. There will be obstacles. They're gonna go out there and face it. I'm not gonna teach you. I'm not gonna give you a fish, but I'm gonna teach you how to fish. It's the same concept. But if we are playing, I think right now we're not even teaching people how to fish. Everything is just superficial. It's like, what do I get out of it first?
There's so many more. Like that's why I'm trying to understand why you're saying teach them how to fish. I get it. If somebody here doesn't teach you how to fish, you can go somewhere else and go learn how to fish.
True.
You don't have to rely on just that one source. There's so many different ways to go about learning something. And it doesn't have to be on that one person. If that one person doesn't, then that's fine. Go on YouTube. Go talk to somebody else.
I get that.
There's so many different tools.
I get that entirely. So but what I'm saying is the action of people actually having that willingness to pass their knowledge. Everybody's sitting on their stuff.
I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Give me an example.
Go on YouTube and go type in whatever it is you want to go learn, and you'll find it.
That's true. But
you can't say that people are holding on to information.
I'm talking about the people that you want to help, for example. Underprivileged people who don't even have access to a people right now. Right? You're going to go tell them, go on YouTube. You're going to tell them, go Google this and Google that.
You provide them the laptop. You provide them what they need to go do that.
So what steps are being taken right now to solve that?
I'm not, me personally, are you asking me?
I'm just saying.
Or you're just saying in general?
I'm saying these are the type of question we should be asking ourselves.
I think they're doing it. I truly indeed think everyone is doing it. We just don't see it because it doesn't affect directly our community. I think everybody is playing their part. It may not be into the facet, to the magnitude that you want it to be today. There's no way in hell that it's not taking place. And if it isn't, shame on all the capitalists, like everybody. Because it's like, what are you holding on to the wealth for? The wealth is supposed to be distributed. The wealth is supposed to be shared. The wealth is supposed to grow. It's supposed to be moving to other industries and communities so that this world is, United States, America grows.
Right.
And to be coming and staying at that place where we could hopefully be number one for a very long time, right? But I do think I think the only thing that's lacking is just not as many people are doing it. It's almost like, we all look at the one that's making the most money and just looks at him or her and says, why aren't you doing it?
I think there's action we can all collectively take today.
Yes, I agree. But I'm just stating what I think is happening is everyone just looks at the next person and is like, oh, why aren't you doing it? Everybody should be doing it. It does not even have to be how much wealth do you really have. It could be just like you said, right? It could be just you sharing your knowledge with somebody. That right there is giving them some sort of knowledge, wealth, in order for them to progressively increase whatever it is that they want to increase.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I think, it's definitely a conversation worth having and shining more light on, because it, deserves the respect that it needs.
Everybody has their own way that they want to live their life too. So that's another thing you also got to consider.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you go out there and, try to push your agenda on the other people. I'm just make the knowledge available. Make the knowledge available, and at least you've played your part to where, okay, it's out there now, and those who will benefit from it will benefit from it.
Right.
Those who don't, and that's kind of where we go from there. And that's kind of where, I myself have really been thinking about, okay, I want to do this, this next project where I want to write a book. Why? Because I know that power is going to be there. As an immigrant with an immigrant story, I'm sure there's a lot of immigrants who can relate to that story as well, and use some of the advices that I'm going to put in there, to navigate life and have the peace of mind that they need while in America. So
the next task would be for the person that is, like you said, that you're going out there to seek it, but the next task would be for that person that is trying to get that knowledge. You got to go out there and go get it.
True. That comes with action. And
that's why it's yes, you can tell everybody share the knowledge, the knowledge. But if somebody does not go out there and try to get the knowledge, then it's like, you're kind of, like you said, you're giving them the sword, but they're just literally going to hurt themselves because they're not doing anything with it.
There's so many steps, man. There's like, yes, you take the action to go and, and go seek for the knowledge, but you may not understand the knowledge. So at that point, it's like, okay, how do I analyze this knowledge? And then you got to apply yourself. There's so many steps, but the goal is to be persistent and get out there and just take action. Fail 10,000 times and wake up, and get up 10,000.
What's the last thing that you failed at?
The last thing that I failed at, oh boy, I was late to pick up my girl.
That's not
and
failing.
She called me out
That's
on
not
it.
Failing.
That is failing.
No, that's not.
That is failing because you're not respecting somebody's time. That is failing.
Did you give her a heads up? I
did.
So that's not failing.
I did.
You told her. That's not failing. Just because, what, you're late on time? I don't
but
think
it's still, you still got to respect somebody's time.
Yeah, but if you warn the person, you're like, hey, I'm going to be a few minutes late, or I'm going to be late.
To me, it was still failing. I don't like to disappoint people.
Well, I don't think you disappointed her.
Yeah.
If you disappointed her, I don't think you'd be talking to her right now.
Anyway, enough about my personal life. The last thing I really failed at, oh, bro, I can't tell you. I'm sure there's one, but I just can't think of one because it's been a while.
You're Mr. Perfect?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. But I'm just, because I consider here, and I think this is going to make sense why I can't find one. The reason I consider failing the minute I give up, the minute I stop doing it. If I couldn't get it and I stopped doing it, then I consider that failure. But if I'm still trying to go after it and I haven't, given up, that's not failure. No, I'm still on that journey, so it's hard for me to say something that I failed at. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Nope. It's not that I'm perfect. I just can't think of anything that I was just like, yeah, forget it. Nope. I gotta see it through.
Well, Leon says that. I forgot what he said. I gotta see it. I think he says I gotta see it through. But okay, go ahead. Next question. I think this last.
Oh yeah. So the last question was just like, okay, what do you think the summer is gonna look like, and what is your strategy for the summer?
Summer's gonna look insane. Yeah. I think it's only gonna look insane because everyone is now getting the feel to go back out. Everyone, like I kid you not. My cousin's getting married in Mexico, and my entire family were all talking about like, hey, getting our tickets and getting the stuff so we can go all support and be there for her. And one of my cousins now is like freaking out because prices are going up for airplanes. And I'm in my mind, me personally, I'm not freaking out. I'm like, hey, if I get hit with a big tax bill on just buying a flight, then I get hit with it. But I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to go ahead and just book it because it's going up. Whatever goes up must come down. That's kind of how I look at it. But it's the same concept, right? It's that aspect of everybody saying, oh, I got to go travel now. I haven't been traveling the past 2 years or whatever. I think that's going to be a big thing. But then also you got inflation is still, there's a lot of talk saying that it's already been at the highest that it'll be, but there's also other conversations of people saying that the summer is probably going to be the highest, and then from there it's going to start coming down.
Gotcha.
But besides those two, there are a lot of people traveling and a lot of money just being spent. It might be one of those summers where it's just a lot that's going to be going on, like a lot. Everyone's trying to recoup. Everyone's trying to recoup the money that they may have lost. Everyone's trying to enjoy themselves. Everybody's trying to get that time back that they lost with not seeing the world. So it's in my eyes, it's going to be I want to say the Wild Wild West.
Okay. I guess that's the best way to put it. I was going more like towards the roaring 20s again.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But my biggest concern, and this goes back to like, I think everybody will be fine. Everybody's going to do what they need to do.
Right.
But my biggest concern is, you know how I feel about, when outside is open, it's a whole different, type of vibe. So, but with that, I mean, are people still going to be focused just as much as they were focused when they were inside? My personal approach is, hey, you were able to be inside for 2 years. You can do an additional year and save you even more money. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not traveling. I'm not doing anything crazy. If anything, I'm taking trips locally, and then maybe take trips in the winter if the prices are coming down. Because, just because everything is open doesn't mean I got to do everything.
Right.
I'm going to use the slower approach. There's a lot of things locally that you can do that will cost you a fraction of what you want to go spend out there. Yes, I love my family. I love the people out there, but it can wait.
Yeah.
It can wait. So, to me, it's more about stay focused. Even though you're going on these trips, even use those trips as an opportunity to dive deep into, some of the stuff that you're already working on during, COVID. Think about that 2020 summer. Like, what did you do? What are some of the things that you got into? As we stayed home even longer, it's like, what are some of the passion, the fire, that kind of, desire that we're being, I'm not trying to sound like Drake, but, what are some of like the desire that you were trying to, nourish and pursue? So think about that and keep that same agenda even as you're enjoying. Life is a sport, so enjoy that, those times. Go out there and do what you got to do, but also remember the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Remember the end game. What is the end game? Don't just go out there, hey, I'm going to drink my life away today because YOLO. It's all fun and games, but it plays an implication. Action, cause and effect is a real thing. Yeah. So every action you take is gonna pay. It's gonna come back somehow. So it's like, just be mindful and be out there, take positive actions, and action that will bring you peace of mind. Things that will allow you to grow as well. So it's like, if you were to do something today, how would you want to look at it 4 or 5 months from now, right? So those type of action, stay on track, because I want to see you all at the end of the finish line. Come December, we should all be toasting to like champagne and whatnot. I don't want anybody going through some mental health issues just because they blew their summer tires away. So it's like, stay in the game. Stay in the game.
That's the best way you could have said it. Stay in the game. And he said something that I wanted to kind of touch on is, even if you don't know what your end game looks like, you still have enough time to sit down with yourself and think about it, right? Plan that out. What does it all even look like? Whatever that looks like, just put into fruition and stay the course of that. Stay in the game for that. But it's just take the time. I mean, a lot of times we're repeating ourselves. It's because I think it's needed for us to repeat ourselves in order for everybody to understand, like, hey, how do you stay on task? How do you stay on the course of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve? But it's, us, hopefully by us saying it consistently and all the time, that it helps with everything that you guys got going on in your life.
Yeah, that's well said. And just make sure you're happy out there too, as you're doing these things, and continue to help each other. And then as you come across people, you're going to meet a lot of new people this summer. A lot of new people this summer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Take the time to really get to know them, hear their story, and see how, how you can help. And the more you do it,
crazy,
the more you do it, the more you will put yourself in a state of mind where you you're enjoying life.
Yeah. Know your environment as well. I think that's another one I want to pin on.
And get in the habit of giving before you receive. Please.
Know your environment. Know where you are. Understand your surroundings. Don't put yourself in a situation that you wouldn't have put yourself in before.
But yeah, I think that kind of covered most of the stuff that I wanted to talk for today. I was hoping it would be short, but again,
you can't make a good conversation short.
That's facts. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope y'all enjoy it. As always, we're here. Watch out for some announcement in a couple days. We got a couple things coming up.
Don't forget to follow us on the Walk and Grow Instagram page.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to us, the email is walkandgrow@gmail.com. Anything else?
I want feedback. I need feedback on whether or not I should do this book or not. I just want to kind of.
What do you need feedback for, man? Do it.
And then also get opinions in terms of
it's your book.
What advice can people have?
Your book, your opinion, your words.
I know.
So let your words, opinions, bro. I'm sorry. Who cares? Do it.
I'm gonna do it no matter what, but it's good to kind of know what other people,
are looking for,
thinking,
but
or
that shouldn't alter,
or looking for, in the book. Like, what are some of the stuff that you want about? Because the whole thing with it is, okay,
well, you're gonna talk about your book. You better be careful now. Somebody gonna take your idea and run.
That's fine. That's fine. You do it. I strongly encourage you to go and do it. And the whole thing is, you get asked that question everywhere. As soon as somebody picks up your accent, is where are you from, right? So. And I'm solving that problem by having my entire story out there. So, it's going to be some wild story how I lost money at the Nino. It's going to be deep.
Don't use my name in that book.
No, I'm not using people's names.
Don't use my name.
It's going to be the same story, but I'm going to change the name.
Please don't use my name in that book, please.
It's going to be some wild story. But, yeah.
If there's one person that would know this guy's life story, it's got to be between me and this other person that I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's it?
That's all. That's all. Yeah.
All right, ciao.
And if you want to sponsor the book, we're here.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one.
Cause I know the life I want, I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.